Hey guys, Spirit just kind of put it on my heart to stop doing the dishes this morning and to come out here and have a little quiet time to deliver a message to all of my followers who originally followed me because they were on their twin flame journey and they needed to feel that resonance and support through my videos and me talking about my own journey. And what triggered it was that I was washing the dishes and Pandora was on and I was listening to music and this song by Adele came on that every time I hear it, I think about when I was going through that tough process in the beginning of that journey. And the song is called Melt My Heart to Stone. Look it up. I'd play it on here, but they have all that copyright rules and stuff. That song made me want to explain something to you guys. So one of the parts of the song says, I feel like I'm the only one in love, because that's how it feels when you're in that separation phase and somebody is rejecting you. Okay. And the funny thing is, even though I was more dominant in my relationship in masculine energy, we're both pretty balanced, which is probably why we came into union to begin with. So you'll flip-flop. You're not always the runner, and you're not always the chaser. So you flip in those energies. So at some points, I would feel like, oh my God, am I the only one in love here? Do you not see this? You know what I mean? And then he would also feel that when I was rejecting him, right? And at the end of the day, that's just your ego. That's just your ego, like holding on for dear life. And every single time I've felt like running or pushing somebody away, or like for me, because of my childhood wounds, I've struggled with BPD. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I'm not going to get into it. If you want to know about it, you can look it up. But it's borderline personality disorder. And I always thought it was like bipolar or something. Phil Good had struggled with this as well. When you're a really sensitive empath and then you've experienced trauma of some sort, it messes with you emotionally to the point where it's like 1 minute you feel like you're in this really high energy and the next minute it's just like you can't think of anything but something negative. And it's just like it spirals, you know what I mean? So the spiritual journey has like really, it helped me so much. Like I'm not even close to being the same person that I used to be. Like I worked through so much trauma, and that is what brought me and Lance together, because we were both working on ourselves and we were both understood what was going on, and we were both willing to take risks and make big changes in our lives in order to align with who we truly are, our highest self. And so, you know, whenever I feel like pushing him away, and it still happens even when we've been in union for years now, it still happens. We still have that push and pull. You can call it the runner chaser, but all it is this oscillation of energy that will happen. For us, it's about every 2 weeks. I've calculated this stuff. I've literally used my relationship as engaged it in a scientific way. I used to mark on a calendar, and I talked about this before, what days we were on, what days we were off, who was on, who was off, what it was. And I was looking, and there was patterns. So energetic patterns. So when the real true work is done is when you're in that repel phase. And this happens, I would say, every 2 weeks. So we're good, like really solid 2 weeks. And then we have this week where we have to try. We have to work at it. You know what I mean? And it's just like people say, you know, marriage isn't easy. And like, that's a part of it. It's just understanding how to unconditionally love somebody. Understanding that we're like, you don't fall in love with the potential of somebody. You love and accept them for who they are right now, right here, right now. And understand that we're ever evolving, ever changing people. And as long as that person has the intention to connect to their higher self and is open to changing and growing and evolving, then it's worth it. Okay? It's worth it to put that time and effort in, to have that patience. Because as much as I've had patience with him, he's had patience with me. Because neither of us are perfect. We're still not perfect. We never will be. There is no ultimate enlightenment when you're in a human physical body carrying an ego around with you that you have to tame. Because you can't completely kill the ego when you're residing in a human body. Like physically, your body would not be able to handle that high of a frequency. So at that point, you would probably pass over and become a spirit guide or whatever the heck, or reincarnate. You couldn't reincarnate if you're trying to raise I don't know. I try to work these things out in my head, but I'm humble enough to say that I will never know all the answers. Not here, not in this physical body. I can tap into what I need in that given moment. So you always have access. If you will prepare your body to be able to rise your kundalini and have access to the Akashic records and such, you have access to infinite knowledge. But as a human and being on this journey, spirit and the universe will give you what you need in that moment. It would be impossible to just harness infinite information. Like, you couldn't handle it. Your human brain couldn't handle it, okay? So that's why you're given what you need when you need it. And if you have the intuition, connection, etc., to tap into it. But anyways, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but that's important though. It's still important to know. But I haven't done any video about twin flames in a very long time, and I wanted to come on here and talk about things a little bit because it's important to understand. Don't try to look at this like, okay, this is how it's supposed to work. There's a person that runs, there's a person that chases. No, we both hold masculine and feminine energy. So there is no, I'm the divine feminine and I'm the divine. No, we all have both. And the reason that they use that terminology is because when you're not in union and you're in separation, you're unbalanced. So you're going to teeter in one direction or the other, more masculine or more feminine. So the person who is usually more masculine, they'll call the divine masculine. But at the end of the day, it's the Holy Trinity, divine masculine, divine feminine. Okay, guys, what really needs to happen more in the spiritual community is people need to actually go and understand history, and not the history that they taught us in schools, not the history that they taught us in university, the history that you actually go look up yourself and pick apart the Bible and pick apart these other religions and pick apart ancient cultures. Pick everything apart. Because we're too quick to just sit there and accept what all these little gurus in the New Age spiritual community are telling us, instead of going and seeking it for ourselves and following the breadcrumbs that your intuition gives you through spirit and the universe, and really being guided on your individual journey. And whenever you're feeling like, just to bring this back to twin flames, whenever you're feeling like you want to push your twin away, it's always you. It's always you that you need to look at. Because the reason you're feeling so triggered by specific things about them or specific things they do is because there's something inside you that just can't accept who they are in that moment. You can't unconditionally love them in that moment. Why? Because why can't you unconditionally love yourself in that moment? That you have to always bring it back to yourself. Like, for me, because I'm cognizant and clairsentient, and I can really feel into things, whenever I see any situation, I immediately go, and I teeter in masculine energy, right? So I immediately go to analyzing it. But when I combine that left brain, right brain, right, where I'm analyzing it, but I'm also bringing my intuition in and bringing spirit in. So I'm seeing it from all these perspectives, right? And this is how I'm viewing myself in the way I react to something, or the way I process, or the way I say something, the way I treat other people. Like, I had to really come to a point where I was like, how come when it comes to strangers, Kelsey, you are the most kindest, like, you're always looking out for somebody, you'll let somebody go ahead of you in the grocery line, that kind of thing. But the people who love you the most, you push away, you put a wall up, you're disrespectful, you're not afraid to lash out because you know that they're going to love you anyways. Why do you do that? Like, I had to work on that for myself, you know, and not be afraid to own the fact that I'm not perfect and I have places where I need to grow. And at the end of the day, when I don't unconditionally love those people, it's because I'm not unconditionally loving myself. And another thing that's challenging is part of that journey of, coming into union. It has mostly to do with you coming into union inside of your own self. And once you can do that and the other person does as well, the more you do it, the more they're going to do it. So if you want to help them grow yourself. Gosh, I had a point to make and I already freaking lost it. That's totally me. My whole life I've been very, very ungrounded. Very ungrounded. So for me, it's because I'm very sensitive. So the more I rose my vibration, the more my body could handle those sensitivities. When I was a kid, I would just pass out. I was so ungrounded, and it wasn't vertigo. I've had so many doctors look at me health-wise. It was 100%. I couldn't handle the vibrations. My physical body couldn't handle the vibrations because I didn't know how to take care of myself. I wasn't aware, I couldn't keep up with it. And finally, all of a sudden, I don't pass out anymore. When I started my spiritual journey, that's when it started. It took 27 years. So, yeah, that was very interesting. I didn't even know I had a gift. And that's why it was happening. But I didn't know what to do with it, right? Laura Eisenhower kind of talks about that. She experienced, she didn't talk about like passing out and stuff, but she talks about how she's always very grounded, and it kind of seems like she has ADD because she can't keep one thought. So that was my point, like how I lost my train of thought there. It's because I'm going to the next thing because I get a little, and especially when I'm on a video and I, before I start my videos, I call in spirit and I get into the right space. But when it's flowing through you, just like anybody who channels anything, afterwards they really have to ground themselves. So whenever I get a little spacey and go from one topic to the next or forget something, it's just that, like, even when somebody channels, have you ever seen like Bashar or Abraham and they channel the entity directly? It changes their voice, everything, right? It messes with the electronics around them, like, and that's another thing that I've really spirit has been putting on my heart lately, is to eat cleaner. My problem is the junk food and the snacks. It's easy for me to give up meat and stuff like that. I've done it before. It's not hard. Because our bodies need to be able to handle all the frequencies that are coming in. Also, you know what? I'll bring that up in another video because this was kind of more twin flamey, and I don't want to bring up like current news and politics in this video because it's just like, it's insane. Speaking of all the esoteric stuff and everything, I woke up yesterday morning, and I had just been sleeping, and I woke up from this dream, and I will actually call it more of a nightmare. And there was this demon in my dream disguising itself, because that's what they like to do, as my 3-year-old daughter catching my house on fire. So my son's looking for me, so I gotta wrap this up. So anyways, that demon, man, I woke up pissed, and I knew the anger was probably like, I was pissed that I was demonically attacked, but at the same time, I was pissed that it used my daughter to try to manipulate me. So anyways, I ended up, doing what I had to do to shake it off. But just know that if that's happening with you, recognizing what it is the number one thing. So a lot of people will wake up from a nightmare and they'll have an experience, something like that, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that scared the shit out of me. Or something happened in my dream and this happened, and then they just brush it off. No, no. Like, if they can't get to you in your waking life, they'll try to manipulate you in other ways. And right now, if you're somebody who's out there spreading love and light in a time where they're hanging on for dear life, demonic attacks are not uncommon. You just have to be sovereign, recognize what they are, and let them know you ain't about the business. And that is how you have to be. And you know what is so funny? It kind of reminds me of this. They had a show on TV where little kids would have like psychic abilities, and they wouldn't know how to handle like things they would see, the demons and all that stuff, right? And so they would have an adult medium come and help them, right? Help them understand that it's about being sovereign. And what they would teach these kids in this show is to tell, the ghost or whatever was bugging them, whatever entity or whatever was bugging them, that they're not welcome. That child understands that it is more powerful than something that they have to give consent to that to be in their experience. And fear is giving consent. So we have to understand these things. When you wake up from a bad dream, recognize that demon for what it is and let them know you don't give consent. It's really that simple. But I'm going to have to wrap this up because my son's looking for me because I didn't tell him I was coming out here and I don't want him to wonder where his mommy is. But anyways, I love you guys. And thank you all to all my new subscribers and everyone who's been posting new comments on my old Twin Flame videos. I'm so glad they've been able to help you. Seriously, I love you guys. And I'll try to make more Twin Flame videos even though I don't really think about it much anymore. I just don't. But it's all still relevant. I'm still going through the journey. I just don't think of it as those terms anymore. I just think I'm with the love of my life and we're living our dream out. You know what I'm saying? This is heaven on earth. The new earth is here right now. Right here, right now. And that's what we have to embody. And that's what we have to be, that beacon of light and that example for everyone and everything around us. That all is well, no matter what you see externally. And everything's always working out for you as long as you believe that. Okay? Love you guys.